First contact. The transport pod hissed as it settled on the designated landing pad at the Global Xenological Research Center. Inside, Zephyr adjusted her atmospheric regulator and ran a final systems check. After traveling 17 light-years from Proxima Centauri, she was about to become the first Centaurian to set foot on Earth as part of the Galactic Scientific Exchange Initiative. Atmospheric composition confirmed compatible. Gravity 1.24 times Centaurian standard. Recommend minimal exoskeleton support for extended mobility, her biosuit informed her. Acknowledged, Zephyr replied, activating the minimal support structures. As the Centaurian Union's leading xenoanthropologist, she had been meticulously prepared for this mission. 6 Earth months embedded among humans to study their civilization and determine if they were ready for broader galactic integration. The pod's door whispered open, revealing a small welcoming committee waiting under the clear blue sky. A tall human with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair stepped forward. Ambassador Zephyr, he said, carefully pronouncing her translated name. Welcome to Earth. I'm Dr. Elijah Morgan, Director of Xenological Studies. I'll be your host and guide during your stay with us. Zephyr stepped from the pod, her copper-toned skin catching the sunlight as she extended challenge altogether, one her extensive research hadn't prepared her for. 3 weeks into her research visit, Zephyr found herself puzzling over yet another human communication mystery. Why would humans shoot the breeze? Is your atmosphere considered hostile? She whispered to Dr. Morgan as they navigated the crowded university auditorium before her scheduled lecture. Dr. Morgan suppressed a smile. Zephyr's literal interpretations of human idioms had become a charming feature of their daily interactions. It just means casual conversation, he explained quietly. Humans use metaphors extensively in everyday speech. Zephyr's silver eyebrows furrowed as she made a note on her digital tablet. Already her Human Expressions document contained over 400 entries, categorized by apparent meaning, literal incongruity, and contextual usage. Your species fascinates me, she admitted. On Centauri, our language evolved to eliminate ambiguity after the empathic misalignment wars. Metaphor is reserved exclusively for artistic expression. The auditorium buzzed with conversation as faculty and students gathered to hear the alien researcher speak. Dr. Morgan had arranged for Zephyr to deliver a series of lectures comparing Centaurian and Earth approaches to scientific discovery. Today's topic was convergent evolution of mathematical principles across galactic civilizations. As she prepared her presentation materials, the building's emergency system suddenly activated, bathing the room in flashing amber lights. Attention. This is not a drill. Severe weather alert. Tornado warning in effect. Please proceed to designated shelter areas immediately, an automated voice announced. Dr. Morgan's expression shifted instantly from casual to focused. Zephyr, we need to go to the basement shelter now. Tornado. Zephyr queried, accessing her databanks. Violently rotating column of air. Highly destructive wind phenomenon. No equivalent on Centauri Prime. Exactly, and they can be deadly. Follow me, please. Dr. Morgan's tone left no room for discussion. As they moved toward the exit, Zephyr observed how quickly the humans organized themselves. Faculty members were calmly directing students toward the stairwells, checking names against roster lists, ensuring no one was left behind. There was no panic, just efficient purpose. In the basement shelter, nearly 200 humans gathered in the reinforced space. Zephyr's sensitive hearing picked up the howling wind above, and the building occasionally trembled. Yet around her, humans were comforting each other, sharing water, and even making jokes to ease tension. A young woman with dark curly hair approached them. Dr. Morgan, we have 3 students unaccounted for from Professor Wu's class. They might still be in the East Wing laboratory. Dr. Morgan's face tightened. The East Wing is mostly glass. Not safe. He turned to Zephyr. Stay here. I'll be back. Before she could protest, he was gone, pushing against the flow of people toward the stairwell. Zephyr felt a sensation she rarely experienced: alarm. According to her briefings, tornadoes could destroy buildings and cause significant casualties. Dr. Morgan was voluntarily increasing his exposure to danger. "Is this typical behavior?" she asked the curly-haired woman. For Dr. Morgan, absolutely. He won't let students face danger alone. She extended her hand. "I'm Maya Patel, doctoral candidate in xenolinguistics. Under better circumstances, I'd say I'm pleased to meet you. Yet you appear distressed," Zephyr observed. "Of course. My friends are missing, and my mentor just ran toward a potential tornado," Maya replied. 23 minutes later, Dr. Morgan returned, guiding 3 shaken students. His shirt was torn, and a cut above his eye leaked crimson blood, but he was smiling reassuringly at the young humans. "East wing skylights shattered," he reported to the emergency coordinator. "But we got out before the worst hit. Buildings taken some damage." Maya rushed forward with a first aid kit, and Zephyr watched as Dr. Morgan submitted to treatment while simultaneously checking on the rescued students. "You deliberately placed yourself in danger," Zephyr stated when she could finally speak with him privately. "They're my responsibility," he replied simply, wincing as Maya applied antiseptic to his cut. "Your species prioritizes collective welfare above individual safety," Zephyr noted, making an entry in her tablet. Dr. Morgan's eyes crinkled at the corners. "Some of us do. Not everyone. And we don't always get it right. Nevertheless," Zephyr said, "it is admirable." For the first time since arriving on Earth, Zephyr found herself reassessing her initial assumptions about humanity's place in the galactic community. The Centaurian Union had classified Earth as a developing civilization of moderate potential. But as she watched these supposedly primitive humans efficiently handle a natural disaster, comfort one another, and risk their lives for their community members, she wondered if her people had miscalculated. When the all-clear finally sounded and they emerged to survey the damage, Zephyr made a private note in her personal log, encrypted from Union oversight. "Humans display unexpected levels of social cohesion and self-sacrifice under threat conditions. Further research required to determine if these traits are anomalous or representative of the species as a whole." She glanced at Dr. Morgan, who was now organizing recovery teams despite his injury, and added, "Individual specimens may exceed species baseline parameters significantly." The communication barrier. Why would humans have butterflies in their stomach? Is this a parasitic condition? Zephyr asked, scrolling through her tablet as she and Dr. Morgan walked across the campus quad. 2 months into her research mission, her catalog of human idioms had grown exponentially. Dr. Morgan chuckled. "It means feeling nervous or excited. The sensation in your abdomen when you're anticipating something important. Ah, like the trembling of secondary nerve clusters before an important research presentation," Zephyr nodded. "Though we would never describe it using insect imagery." The spring morning was pleasant, with students sprawled on the grass studying or tossing discs in what Zephyr had learned was a recreational activity. Her vision caught a group of researchers hurrying toward the main laboratory complex, their faces tense. "Something is wrong," she stated, her empathic senses, though dulled by distance from the Centaurian collective, picking up waves of concern. Dr. Morgan followed her gaze. "Let's find out." Inside the xenobiology lab, they found organized chaos. Scientists moved with purpose between workstations, holographic displays showing rapidly changing data patterns. Dr. Maya Patel spotted them and rushed over. "Dr. Morgan, Ambassador Zephyr, thank goodness. We've detected something in the upper atmosphere, and well, you should see for yourself." She led them to the central display terminal, where a shifting mass of what appeared to be luminescent particulate matter hung in Earth's upper atmosphere. "It began forming 3 hours ago," explained Dr. Aidan Chen, the atmospheric specialist. "At first, we thought it was just an unusual aurora event, but it's growing. And it's structured." "Structured how?" Dr. Morgan asked, leaning forward to study the display. It appears to be organizing itself according to consistent mathematical patterns, self-replicating, and it's absorbing atmospheric elements at an increasing rate. Zephyr felt her secondary heart quicken. "May I?" She gestured to the terminal. Dr. Chen stepped aside, and Zephyr's 6 fingers flew across the interface, bringing up alternative views and running spectral analyses. Her expression remained neutral, but internally, she felt a mounting concern. "This is a Ticarian microswarm," she finally said, "a self-replicating nanomaterial used for atmospheric modification on uninhabited planets. The Ticarians are another spacefaring species known for their bioengineering capabilities." "You recognize this technology?" Dr. Morgan asked. "Yes. The Centaurian Union has encountered it before. The Ticarians used these swarms to prepare planets for colonization by altering atmospheric composition to their preferred methane-ammonia mix." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Such alteration would be incompatible with Earth life." A heavy silence fell over the lab. "You're saying this is a terraforming technology that would kill us all," Dr. Chen stated bluntly. "That is correct," Zephyr confirmed. "Though I find it unusual that a Ticarian swarm would be deployed here. Earth is registered as an inhabited world with the Galactic Species Registry." Dr. Morgan's jaw tightened. "How long would this process take?" "Typically 3 to 4 Earth months for complete conversion. The process accelerates exponentially once critical mass is achieved." "And how do we stop it?" Maya asked. Zephyr hesitated. "Ticarian swarms are designed to be resilient. On previous occasions, the Centaurian Union has used specialized quantum disruptors to break the algorithmic cohesion of the swarm particles." "Do you have such technology with you?" Dr. Morgan asked, hope evident in his voice. "No. Such devices are not part of standard research equipment." Zephyr accessed her neural database. "I can provide technical specifications, but the quantum engineering required is advanced." Dr. Morgan's expression shifted to determination. "Then we'll have to create our own solution." "Dr. Chen, alert the planetary defense authorities. Maya, start assembling everything we know about this swarm from Ambassador Zephyr's data. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with." Zephyr observed with interest as the humans rapidly organized themselves. Within hours, an international response team had been assembled virtually, with scientists from every continent connected to the university's secure network. Dr. Morgan led the briefing, explaining the nature of the threat with remarkable clarity given his limited understanding of the technology involved. "Ambassador," he said during a brief break in the proceedings, "would you be willing to contact your homeworld for assistance? Perhaps they could send one of these quantum disruptor devices." Zephyr had already considered this option. "I have sent an emergency communication. However, the nearest Centaurian vessel equipped with such technology is approximately 17 light days from Earth. Even with our fastest communication methods and their immediate response, physical assistance would not arrive for at least 20 Earth days, by which time the swarm could be well established." Dr. Morgan concluded grimly. "Correct. I will continue to provide any technical assistance I can." As days passed, Zephyr watched the humans work with increasing admiration. Without the advanced quantum technology of her people, they were forced to approach the problem from unconventional angles. Teams of engineers and scientists worked around the clock, testing various methods to disrupt the swarm. High-powered electromagnetic pulses were deployed by military aircraft, only to find the swarm particles quickly adapted to the frequency. Atmospheric dispersal of chemical agents designed to bind to the nanoparticles failed when the swarm simply altered its molecular structure to repel the compounds. 6 days into the crisis, Zephyr received a response from the Centaurian High Council. "What did they say?" Dr. Morgan asked, exhaustion evident in his voice. He hadn't slept in nearly 36 hours. "They acknowledge the situation and confirm a relief vessel has been dispatched," Zephyr reported. "However, they express concern about the timing. They also..." She hesitated. "They also what?" Dr. Morgan prompted. "They advise me to return to my transport pod and enter stasis until the relief vessel arrives. They believe Earth's atmosphere may become toxic to Centaurian physiology before help can arrive. Dr. Morgan stared at her. They're telling you to save yourself and let us figure it out. That is an accurate summary, Zephyr admitted. It is standard protocol in potentially catastrophic xenobiological events. And what will you do? Zephyr considered the question carefully. Union protocol was clear, but something else had formed during her time on Earth, a connection to these humans, an appreciation for their perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. I will stay and assist your efforts, she finally said. My knowledge of Ticarian technology may prove valuable in developing an alternative solution. Dr. Morgan's expression softened, and he placed a hand gently on her copper-skinned shoulder, a human gesture of solidarity she had come to understand. Thank you. On the 10th day, with the swarm now visible to the naked eye as a shimmering veil in the upper atmosphere, Zephyr observed a focused discussion between Dr. Morgan and a team of researchers from diverse scientific disciplines. The problem, explained Dr. Sanvi Gupta, a quantum physicist, is that we can't create a disruptor with the specific frequency modulation Ambassador Zephyr described. Our quantum technology is simply not advanced enough. Then we need a different approach entirely, replied Dr. Morgan. If we can't disrupt their programming, maybe we can overwhelm it. Dr. Pavel Volkov, a Russian programmer, leaned forward. What if we introduce a competing algorithm? Something that could infiltrate the swarm's communication network and introduce chaos. A virus, added Maya excitedly. Or more accurately, a prion, a self-replicating pattern that corrupts the original programming. Zephyr listened with growing interest. The swarm particles communicate using quantum entanglement pairs. To introduce such a disruption, you would need to establish entanglement with at least some portion of the swarm. And can we do that? Dr. Morgan asked. Dr. Gupta frowned. Theoretically, yes. We've achieved quantum entanglement in laboratory conditions, but never at this scale or distance. What if we don't need to entangle with the entire swarm? Maya suggested. What if we just need to infect enough particles to start a chain reaction? The conversation continued late into the night, with Zephyr providing critical details about Ticarian swarm architecture. The humans' approach was unorthodox by Centaurian standards, messy, intuitive, drawing from multiple disciplines rather than following established quantum engineering principles. Yet there was an elegance to their collaborative problem-solving that Zephyr found herself admiring. 3 days later, an experimental satellite was ready for deployment. The device contained what the team had dubbed quantum chaff, particles specifically designed to entangle with the swarm and introduce randomized commands that would disrupt its self-organizing patterns. Zephyr stood in the control room as the satellite was launched, her neural recorder capturing every detail of this unprecedented human response to an extraterrestrial threat. Satellite achieving optimal deployment altitude, reported the launch controller. Preparing to release quantum chaff in 3, 2, 1. Deployment confirmed. On the main display, they watched as the tiny particles were released into the upper atmosphere. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. No visible effect on swarm cohesion, reported Dr. Chen, disappointment evident in his voice. Give it time, Dr. Morgan said firmly. The entanglement process isn't instantaneous. Zephyr's enhanced vision detected it first, a slight irregularity in the swarm's pattern, a tiny area where the perfect mathematical precision began to waver. There, she pointed. Upper quadrant, coordinates 42.3 by 78.9. The monitoring equipment confirmed what she saw, a growing disruption in the swarm's organization. Within hours, the effect had spread to cover nearly 15% of the swarm's mass. It's working, Maya whispered, almost afraid to believe it. By the next morning, the swarm's cohesion had deteriorated significantly. Particles were falling out of formation, their programming corrupted by the human-made quantum chaff. Some began to rain down as inert dust, while others simply dispersed into the upper atmosphere. A cheer erupted in the control room when their sensors confirmed that the swarm's replication rate had dropped below its degradation rate, the tipping point that meant the threat was receding. In the midst of the celebration, Zephyr found herself experiencing an unfamiliar emotion. Pride, not in her own contributions, but in what these humans had accomplished. With technology centuries behind the Centaurian unions, they had developed a novel solution to a threat they had never encountered before. Dr. Morgan appeared at her side, his eyes bright despite the exhaustion etched on his face. "Your people thought we'd need saving," he said quietly. "That we couldn't handle this without advanced technology. I admit, I shared that assessment initially," Zephyr replied with characteristic honesty. "I was incorrect." Dr. Morgan smiled. "We're used to working with what we have, making do, finding unconventional solutions." "It is a remarkable trait," Zephyr acknowledged, "one that my people may have underestimated." As the humans continued their celebrations, Zephyr composed a message to the Centaurian High Council, carefully documenting the entire incident. She emphasized the innovative approach the humans had taken and their success against a technological threat far beyond their development level. She concluded with an assessment that she knew would cause debate in the council chambers. Recommend immediate reclassification of human civilization from developing with moderate potential to emergent with significant potential. Further recommend accelerated cultural exchange program and technological sharing initiatives. As she sent the message, Zephyr realized that her mission had fundamentally changed. She had come to study these humans, to determine their readiness for galactic integration. Now, she found herself becoming their advocate. The next day, as the last remnants of the Ticarian swarm dissipated harmlessly in the atmosphere, an unexpected message arrived from the Centaurian vessel en route to Earth. Zephyr read it with growing concern. "What is it?" Dr. Morgan asked, noticing her expression. "The Centaurian relief ship has detected a Ticarian vessel on long-range sensors, approaching the solar system," she replied. "It appears the swarm was not an accident or error in the galactic registry. It may have been deliberately deployed." Dr. Morgan's expression hardened. "Then this isn't over." "No," Zephyr agreed, feeling her admiration for these resilient humans grow. "I believe it has only just begun." Trial by fire. The Centaurian relief vessel arrived in Earth orbit 12 days later, earlier than expected. Captain Lyran, a tall, silver-haired Centaurian, with the distinctive copper skin of their species, materialized in the university's secure conference room via quantum projection. "Ambassador Zephyr," he greeted with the formal hand gesture of their people, "I bring urgent news from the Union Council." Zephyr returned the gesture. "Captain, your expedited arrival is noted with appreciation." Dr. Morgan and the core research team stood nearby, watching the interaction with fascination. Few humans had seen more than one Centaurian before. "We have confirmed that a Ticarian colonization fleet is approaching this system," Captain Lyran continued. "Their advanced scout has already cataloged this planet for atmospheric conversion. Is that why they deployed the nanite swarm?" Dr. Morgan asked. "An advanced preparation." Captain Lyran's pupilless eyes shifted to the human. "Correct. Ticarians prefer to begin atmospheric alteration before their arrival. It appears they have either bypassed or corrupted the galactic species registry entry for Earth." "An act of war," Maya murmured. Captain Lyran's expression remained neutral. "The Ticarians do not recognize non-spacefaring species territorial claims. In their legal framework, this is simply colonization of an undeveloped world." Dr. Morgan's jaw tightened. "We may not have interstellar ships, but we are sentient beings with a civilization. This is our home." "A perspective the Centaurian Union shares," Zephyr interjected smoothly, "which is why Captain Lyran is here to assist." The captain nodded. "Our vessel has deployed quantum disruptors in Earth orbit to prevent further nanite deployments. However, the Ticarian fleet consists of 17 vessels, including 3 planetary conversion ships. They will arrive in approximately 14 of your days." A heavy silence fell over the room. "What are our options?" Dr. Morgan finally asked. Captain Lyron's projection flickered slightly. Ambassador Zephyr, the High Council has instructed me to evacuate you immediately. A diplomatic incident involving a Union official could complicate matters. Zephyr felt all human eyes turn to her. She had anticipated this order, but now faced with the reality, she found herself reluctant. And what of Earth's defense? She asked carefully. The Union vessel will remain in orbit and attempt diplomatic communication with the Ticarian fleet. We will inform them that Earth is under Centaurian protection as an emerging civilization study site. Dr. Chen leaned forward. And if they ignore that? Captain Lyron's silence was answer enough. A single vessel against 17, Dr. Morgan translated, including 3 dedicated to terraforming an entire planet. The Union is dispatching additional vessels, Captain Lyron added, but they cannot arrive for at least 40 of your days, by which time the Ticarians could have begun their conversion process again, Zephyr concluded. This time with technology we cannot counter. Captain Lyron's expression remained impassive, but Zephyr, attuned to the subtle shifts in Centaurian body language, could read his resignation. Ambassador, please prepare for evacuation within 6 Earth hours. The Council's orders are explicit. After the projection ended, the room erupted in urgent discussion. Zephyr stood quietly, processing the implications of the situation. The humans turned to her. Will you go? Dr. Morgan asked directly. Zephyr considered the question carefully. Council directives are not typically subject to individual interpretation. But, Maya prompted, hearing the unspoken hesitation. But I have spent 3 months studying human civilization. I have seen your adaptability, your innovative problem-solving, your capacity for collaboration across differences. The Council's assessment of Earth as merely an emerging civilization study site is incomplete. Dr. Morgan stepped closer. We need your help, Zephyr. Your knowledge of Ticarian technology, your access to Centaurian resources. Without these, we're fighting blind. Zephyr activated her neural display, projecting a holographic image of the approaching Ticarian fleet. The ships were biomechanical constructs, designed to resemble giant manta rays with vast solar collection wings spanning kilometers. Ticarian vessels have 3 primary vulnerabilities, she explained, making her decision. Their navigation systems rely on quantum entanglement networks that can be disrupted. Their biological components require specific radiation frequencies for sustenance, and their command structure is strictly hierarchical. Neutralize the lead vessel, and the others will be temporarily disoriented. Around the room, humans began taking notes, asking questions, organizing themselves into task forces. Zephyr felt a curious warmth spread through her secondary heart as she watched them. These were not the actions of a primitive species awaiting salvation. This was a civilization fighting for its existence with every tool at its disposal. 6 hours later, when Captain Lyron's transport beam attempted to lock onto her coordinates, Zephyr was deep underground in a shielded research facility, surrounded by human scientists working feverishly on defense strategies she had helped design. The expected reprimand from the Centaurian vessel came swiftly. Ambassador Zephyr, you have directly contravened Council orders, Captain Lyron's message stated. Explain your actions. I am continuing my research mission, she replied simply. Human response to existential threat represents a unique anthropological dataset. The Council will benefit from complete documentation. There was a long pause before Captain Lyron responded. Your true motivation is noted and off record. Be advised that the Union vessel cannot guarantee your safety if you remain planetside. We will continue diplomatic preparations and maintain orbital defense positions. Understood, Captain. I will continue to provide situation reports as developments warrant. When the communication ended, Zephyr found Dr. Morgan watching her. You just defied your government for us, he said quietly. I made a research priority assessment, she corrected, though both knew it was more than that. Now let us focus on the task at hand. The Ticarian communication protocols you requested. Over the next 10 days, Earth's nations united in unprecedented cooperation. Military assets were repositioned, scientific resources pooled, and planetary defense systems, primitive by galactic standards, but significant nonetheless, prepared for possible engagement. Zephyr worked tirelessly alongside the humans, providing critical information about Ticarian technology and tactics. Her neural database became an invaluable resource, while her insights into non-human psychology helped craft potential diplomatic approaches. What impressed her most, however, was humanity's refusal to accept defeat. When conventional options seemed exhausted, they simply invented new ones. When resources were insufficient, they'd repurposed existing technologies in ways her people would never have considered. "It's called McGivering," Maya explained when Zephyr commented on this tendency. "Making something work with whatever you have available. An efficient adaptation to resource scarcity," Zephyr noted, adding the term to her ever-growing human lexicon. On the 12th day, the Centaurian vessel detected unusual activity from the approaching Ticarian fleet. "They've accelerated," Captain Lyran reported via secure channel. "Estimated arrival now within 48 hours. Additionally, they are not responding to diplomatic communications. They know their advance preparation failed," Zephyr analyzed. "They likely intend to begin atmospheric conversion immediately upon arrival." Dr. Morgan's team had been working on a plan, audacious by any standard, and relying heavily on technologies that had never been deployed at such scale. Huge electromagnetic pulse generators had been positioned strategically around the planet. Quantum disruption satellites, based on the prototype that had defeated the nanite swarm, but vastly more powerful, waited in orbit. And most controversially, a fleet of human spacecraft, a hastily assembled collection of military, scientific, and even modified civilian vessels, prepared for the first human encounter with alien ships. "It's time to implement Operation Firewall," Dr. Morgan announced to the Global Response Team. "All stations, prepare for Phase 1. Zephyr observed with a mixture of admiration and concern. The plan was ingenious but depended on precise timing and coordination between technologies that hadn't existed 2 weeks ago. The likelihood of success, by her calculation, was approximately 27.3%, not odds that would inspire confidence among her people. Yet the humans showed no hesitation. They moved with purpose, each understanding their role in this unprecedented defensive action. Zephyr found herself being escorted to a secure bunker deep beneath the research facility, where Dr. Morgan, Maya, and key military and scientific leaders had established the Global Command Center. "I should remain with the quantum disruption team," Zephyr protested. "My technical knowledge is too valuable to risk," Dr. Morgan interrupted. "You've given us everything we need to operate the systems. Now we need you here, helping us coordinate the response." As the Ticarian fleet entered the outer solar system, Zephyr received another communication from Captain Lyran. "The Council has reviewed your situation reports," he informed her, his tone softer than in previous exchanges. "They have reconsidered their